Ag PhD full episodes and more are now available on Acres TV, the newest ag platform connecting you to fields of information. Look for us on watchacrestv.com.
During our Farm Basics time each week, we take something that we do on the farm, or just farmers do in general, and we try to hopefully relate it to you if you are a non-farmer and you're just interested in some of the things that we have going on the farm. Well, something we talk about quite often here on the show is spray pressure. So we just wanted to explain that a little bit today and why it's important.
When I was in high school in sports, our town built a new school and they put in a new shower. We were excited about it. Except they put these nozzles in that it was just sandblasting you with high pressured water as you try to take your shower, versus the old showers where water just barely trickled out and had virtually no pressure. I think about that when I think of spray pressure. If I'm just barely dropping out great big droplets versus I'm blowing it really hard. And you think about a big bushy crop, if you're blowing it in there really hard, you got a pretty good chance of getting coverage all the way down to the lower leaves.
Well,
it makes a difference.
Darren, what I think about with your little story there, which I've just heard for the first time now, is it sounds like you're going to get awfully clean if you have that shower just blasting at you. And to some degree, that's kind of what we're after here too. Because when farmers spray and the crop gets a little bit bigger, you have to think about, okay, there are all these leaves, all this foliage out there, and you're trying to blast down near the ground to kill a tiny little weed. You have to have enough spray pressure to push those droplets down and break through that canopy to get coverage on the lower weeds.
When we're talking about spray pressure, it's measured in pounds per square inch. And farmers can adjust that in many cases in the cab with just one little dial. And that's pretty nice to press a button or turn a dial, and all of a sudden they can have more pressure or less pressure, depending on what conditions they have, the size of the crop, and the product they're spraying.
One of the concerns with spray pressure is it can make the droplet size a little bit smaller. It can also push the droplets farther away. When those things happen, then we worry a little bit about off-target movement. Obviously, as farmers, we only make money when we raise a better crop. We want to keep anything we're spraying on our crop and not on someone else's. So that's why we have to be a little bit careful about upping the spray pressure too much.
Well, the other thing farmers can do is change their water volume levels. And you think about if you're spraying a high pressure and lots of gallons per acre, well, there's a lot of coverage out there for the big crop or for the product that really needs to be on every leaf in order for it to work. So farmers are legitimately changing spray pressure all the time. They're also changing the nozzles that they use on the sprayer. Some nozzles have a pressure range that's a little more than others or a little different. So as they're running a certain speed, they'll need to run a certain amount of spray pressure to get out the right gallons of carrier per acre.
It's not just the right gallons, it's also the pattern. So some nozzles can run, like Darren said, at a wide range, others can't. So if you want to maintain the right spray pattern so the coverage is exactly even all across that field, you have to be a little bit careful. So that's where the farmer will just work with the agronomist or the sprayer company, sprayer dealer, and then try to figure that out and match that up for whatever they're going for, whatever they're using. So just for example, on our farm, when we spray Liberty, we want a little bit more spray pressure to get a little bit better coverage. If we're using dicamba, I'm not as worried about spray coverage. I'm much more worried about spray drift. So we're going to vary those things based on the chemistry we're using.
We're getting a little complicated here. We're really talking about spray pressure, the pounds per square inch of pressure that is pushing out of the sprayer onto your crop for various purposes. Of course, if you're really curious and want to learn a little more, you can download the free Ag PhD Spray Tips Guide. That'll tell you by product and by spray nozzle what kind of pressure they may be running.
But all these things come into play when you're trying to control our weed of the week. Can you identify this week's weed?